Why do we continue to ask questions? A kid will ask why the moon glows, and an adult will ask why there is life. Questions never end. Why do we desire to ask why? Repeatedly? Let's examine the real reasons for this human behavior that won't stop. Questions are human nature. A kid wonders, why does it rain? A scientist wonders, how do stars get formed? Even in quiet moments, we wonder, am I on the right track? This natural urge to keep wondering is not random. It is part of who we are as human. So why do we do it? What drives us to wonder repeatedly? First, our brains are extremely important. Scientists who study how we think say curiosity is like a switch that gets flipped on when we don't know something. A 2020 study in Nature Neuroscience found that when we are curious, our brain is filled with dopamine, a happy chemical that makes us feel good, like when we laugh or eat something delicious. When we ask a question, our brain searches for an answer, and just thinking about it releases this chemical. That's why we keep asking. It feels good. Another study in 2016 discovered that the hippocampus, a part of the brain that stores memories, gets triggered too. Asking questions keeps it active as if it needs more learning. This brain activity is not a coincidence. It has to do with our biology. In 2019, research on twins showed that 30% to 40% of our curiosity comes from our genes. We are born curious because of our brain's reward system. The rest comes from our experiences, like if our parents used to respond to our questions or we had plenty of books when we were young. So, part of the reason we continue to ask questions is in our DNA from ancestors who needed to stay sharp. This leads us to survival and history. Thousands of years ago, early humans had a tough world. They needed to ask themselves questions such as, is this berry edible? Or where is the water? To survive. A 2023 study in human behavior describes how those who questioned their environment were more likely to survive. If someone asked, can I sharpen this stick? They would be a better hunter. This became a habit over time and stayed with us. It wasn't an individual thing. Groups of question askers shared ideas and solved problems together. Consider this. Asking, how do we get across this river? Could have created the first bridges. This drive to ask questions kept humans alive, and we still have it today. Children express this desire loud and clear. Research from Developmental Science in 2023 reports children ask 76 questions per hour. That's a lot. Psychologists such as Jean Piaget tell us that their minds are attempting to understand everything. When a child learns something new, such as birds flying, they'll ask, how do they stay up there? It's not noise. Their minds experience a bump when something doesn't match what they know, and questions help them understand it. Another psychologist, Lev Vygotsky, discovered that talking things through strengthens understanding. A child who asks, why is the grass green, learns from the answer and the conversation. This back and forth drives more questions, creating a cycle. Our brains don't like loose ends either. Leon Festinger, a psychologist from the 1950s, came up with a term called cognitive dissonance. This happens when two ideas conflict, like knowing cigarettes are bad for you but still smoking them, and it makes us uncomfortable. In 2018, a study used brain imaging to demonstrate that unresolved questions spark an area of the brain called the problem-solving part of the brain, which helps us deal with problems. It is like an itch we can't scratch until we have an answer. That is why we keep asking questions. We want to scratch the itch. Whether it is, why did my friend cancel? Or, how does this machine work? Our brains bother us to know. Philosophy provides another perspective. Socrates, an ancient Greek philosopher, questioned everything. He'd ask people questions like, what is courage? Or, what is a good life? He wouldn't stop because he believed we can't truly know anything unless we keep questioning. In his time, questioning was how you arrived at the truth. In parts of the world like ancient India, people questioned, who am I? Or, what is everything made of? To understand life itself. Zen Buddhism even uses thought-provoking questions such as, what's the sound of one hand clapping? To get people thinking outside normal responses. These great minds demonstrate we question because we're wired to seek meaning, not simply facts. History does the same. In the 1500s, Nicholas Copernicus asked, what if the Earth orbits the Sun? This was the reverse of what people thought at the time. He continued to ask because the old explanations didn't work. Planets acted strangely in the sky. A few hundred years later, Voltaire asked, why can't we think for ourselves? When kings and churches controlled everything. People such as Mary Wollstonecraft asked, why don't women have the same opportunities? These questions were born from a desire to question what is accepted, not simply accept it. That questioning of the world continues to keep us questioning today. Science explores further into this craving. In a 2022 study, some brain cells are activated when we expect a response. They are connected to dopamine and are stimulated by the seeking, not the finding. It's as if our brains are programmed to enjoy the question itself. A 2021 study showed that questioning turns on the prefrontal cortex, the brain's problem-solving area, to work harder. When we ask, why does this happen? It's like exercising a muscle that wants to be stronger. This combination of brain structure and chemistry keeps us interested in asking. There is a social element, too. Humans have always been in groups, and questions make us belong. In the old days, to ask, what's that noise, might warn everyone of danger. Now we ask, what do you think, to belong. In 2019, a study discovered that kids who were answered by adults asked 30% more questions than kids who were on their own. We learn from others by asking, which motivates us to keep going. It's not about us, it's about how we learn together. Fear is important too. Some researchers tell us we ask questions because the unknown is scary. Early humans did not know what was on the other side of the next hill, so they asked questions to be safer. A 2020 study showed us that our brains react to not knowing. It's stressful until we know more. Asking, what's that shadow? Or, will this work? Reassures us. Even today we ask, is my job safe? Because not knowing is hazardous. This fear of not knowing keeps the questions coming. Genes cooperate with our experiences here as well. In a 2021 study, two kinds of curiosity were discovered. One that likes new things and one that is curious about particular issues. Some ask more questions because their genes make them more likely to do so, but their life decides how many they ask. If a child's questions are not encouraged, they will ask fewer questions than adults. If they are, curiosity increases. So the fact that we continue to ask is attributed to our natural traits and environment. Philosophers such as Albert Camus also considered this. He suggested that we ask questions because the world isn't necessarily sure. Questions such as, why am I here? Are asked when the world is uncertain. He didn't think we would ever know everything, but asking questions kept us focused. The desire to know things, even the uncertain things, makes us continue to ask questions. Science continues finding clues. Research in 2023 revealed that questioning alters the brain in the long run. Curious individuals have thicker connections in a part of the brain responsible for thinking. It's as if the brain adjusts to handle more questions. Another study indicates that a brain chemical that helps us focus is activated when we are curious. This is why you focus when asking something important. These changes show that our brains are designed this way. Yes, questioning can result in wonderful things, such as new discoveries or significant changes, like when Einstein pondered light or when people fought for equal rights. It can also make us nervous if we question excessively, such as worrying over every decision. But that is not the problem in this case. What is important is that we continually question. Our brains reward us, our genes influence us, our history teaches us, our fears drive us, and our desire to know pushes us forward. All our questions have these reasons as their source. A child asking, why is the sky blue? Sparks the same curiosity that prompted Copernicus to gaze up at the stars. It's what we do, chemistry, history, and the like. We ask because we're wired to, because we've always had to, and because we can't help but. Thanks for sticking with me. What's the one question you always ask? Write it in the comments, I'm curious. Click like if this caught your attention, and subscribe for more. Let's keep asking questions.